Now turn to the energy sector, where global oil demand is surging and experts are warning price hikes could be on the horizon. Joining us now is Rick Perry, former energy secretary and former Texas governor. Rick, good to see you. Rick,
good to be with you, John.
Yeah, before we go, first of all, let's talk about what's happening in oil, right? I don't want to let you go right now. Oil prices are rising, usage is up, and supply is going down. You have OPEC and Saudi Arabia pumping less oil. What's going on here, and where are the prices going?
Well, we were independent of anyone about 3 years ago, and then the federal government put policies into place that started restricting the ability for America to produce fossil fuels. So that's what's happening in a nutshell. But the fact is, the use continues to go up. The demand is still there. The demand will increase going into the future. So the idea that everything is going to cost more, particularly fuels, is a reality. And it's because this administration has decided to put all of its eggs in the basket of renewables. The impact on the grid that can have and keeping the lights on, the power coming to our homes is in great jeopardy if we continue down this path that we're on. So this is pretty simple. Fossil fuels are important to the future of the world. Whether you're someone in Africa who has no access to power, and the folks back here at home who are saying, you know, we're against fossil fuels, leave them in the ground, we're going to go completely and totally all electric and to renewables in the future. You're basically saying to those people in Africa, sorry, you're never going to have a better life. You're just going to live in the squalor that you're in today. No sonograms for you, no electrical power. You're just going to have to burn wood and cow dung and live with it. What a dark-hearted thing, Sean, to say to a billion people around the world when America has substantial, like 200-plus year supply of clean-burning natural gas. I mean, that is a stunning statement for people to make that, no, we're going to stick with our story that fossil fuels are bad, that the climate is the existential threat to the world, when in fact, science day in and day out is not showing that to be the truth. I mean, this heat wave that we got on right now, the media doesn't want to talk about a volcano that occurred in Tonga in the South Pacific that many scientists say that's the reason you're seeing 1.5 degrees centigrade increase in temperatures around the world, because of trillions of gallons of water vapor that went up into the atmosphere. So we need to follow the science and not just your political narrative.
You know, what burns me is the Biden attack on American oil and gas. I mean, this is a space that provides, tens of thousands of jobs for American workers, pays a lot of money into the federal coffers, a lot of tax revenue, gives us energy independence, freedom from people who don't like us very well. And what's interesting is, as gas prices have been going up and appear to be going up even further, Joe Biden's poll numbers more than likely will go down, because the more you pay for gas, the more you blame the president, and his approval ratings go down. Am I wrong on that, Governor?
Yeah, I mean, he's willing to ride this pony completely off the cliff. And one of the hardest things for politicians to do is to stand up and say, you know what, I was wrong about something. And I'm pretty sure that this president will never, ever say, you know what, we're wrong on some of these energy policies. We ought to be focusing on small modular reactors that are walk-away safe, that are zero emissions. If you really care about the environment, Mr. President, you know, stop the war on American liquefied natural gas and the small modular reactor industry out there, and come on board and say, here's what we need to do to make people's lives better. Here's how we need to drive down the cost of power, and here's how we need to make sure that we keep the lights on. Those two things, American natural gas and small modular reactors, that's the future.
100%. All right. We have a new analysis from the Center of the American Experiment. It says that Biden's new climate regulations, they're going to cause rolling blackouts across the United States, especially in the Midwest, where I'm from, the area of Wisconsin, Minnesota, Iowa. What's your reaction to this?
Well, if you're going to rely upon wind and solar and keep kicking off fossil fuel plants for your base load and not support the nuclear industry, particularly these small modular reactors, then get ready for the grid to fail from time to time. I mean, when you have a catastrophic failure of your electric grid, this isn't something that comes back on in a couple of days. I mean, this is literally weeks that it could be off. So this is a national security issue for one thing, Sean. When you talk about a region of the United States that could literally lose all electrical power because the grid fails. I mean, and wind and solar, they have their place, but they should be a part of a diverse portfolio. But saying that we're going to be depend upon them to the level of what this administration is pushing is going to be a cataclysmic event.
Rick Perry, the EPA is out of control. Their rules are crazy. And when there's a Republican Congress, a House, a Senate, and a Republican president, they have to roll back these rules and rein in the EPA because America cannot stand these policies. We cannot thrive with these policies. Rick Perry, always a pleasure. Thanks for joining me. Appreciate it.
Thanks, Sean. Good to see you, bro.